13th of November. The year of the Horde, 2021. The old Farmer's Almanac. Oh, trying to look under my glasses to read. I forgot why I had them on. Mariner 9 became first spacecraft to orbit another planet, Mars, 1971. That's what I read in the restroom this morning before moving on to my Lonesome Dove book that I'm reading. That's what I do in the restroom. I sit down, I relax, I lose some weight, and I read. And it reminded me in reading that this morning, the day's line, something that had happened yesterday. See, look at yesterday. Indian summer. The wind in the west suits everyone best. I read that in the morning, but I don't really have my mind together when I wake up. Not really. It takes me a minute. So I didn't really think about it. And then later in the day, I was thinking about just how nice these days have been in November. I've been thinking about that so much lately. It's been a beautiful November, just warm and lovely. We had like 70-degree days, I think, almost at least. And I've been appreciating it so much so that I started wondering, what if it just kind of stayed like this all winter? It's almost believable. I think, God, this global warming thing, you know, it really might have its okay aspect to it if it could just stop and keep it like this. Let people adjust in other temperate zones. I'd take this one. It's the people too close to the edge of where it's changing that suffer the most. It's time maybe they get used to it. You come to expect it after a while. We've lived through these winters so long. Wasn't always like that there, you know. Time itself has changed the climate in that zone, so anything that has lived there has adjusted. Maybe there were things that liked it more than where they were, so they moved into there like this. This has been wonderful. And then I realized, oh no, just read this morning, I was reminded it's Indian summer. It's just a thing that goes on every once in a while. And I said, what? You know, it reminded me, it put me in proper light of the thing. Winter is coming. We're just getting a nice little fucking ease into it right now. Something we might need for harsh winter. Sometimes they last too long. It drives people crazy. They get cabin fever and start running around shotgunning fucking neighbors' houses and breaking into their cabins and shooting off fucking shotgun and then running out and going to that. That's what Donnie Badassi talked about once in Sheboygan. Guy, and that's what they call cabin fever. It was just such a cold, harsh winter. Guy lost his fucking mind to it. So there's one aspect. See it, Dave. I'm about to start talking about things that you might be interested in. Come here. Oh. So then I wondered, why is it we haven't heard about Indian summer this year? I mean, it almost screwed me up. I almost didn't plan for winter properly, thinking maybe it's not coming. And I thought, oh, it's because this is not anything Asian. It's the U.S. It's a slur. It's a slang. It's something we're trying to forget. So we don't say Indian summer anymore. It's been a while since I've heard it, but the old Farmer's Almanac reminded me of the word, the idea. And Well, so we can't say it anymore. Why didn't we come up with another word for it? They turned sitting Indian style into, I don't know, heebie-jeebie or cross-leg Christian, crisscross, albatross. I don't know what they fucking say. It's stupid. It being Indian style was based on the fucking Hindu guru fucking, I think. What's wrong with that? But they gave that another name. Why not Indian summer? They can't think of one. Why not just call it savage summer? I mean, that's not even calling the Indians savages. It's saying, you know, the temperature is not cooling enough to cool the blood in some of these people that have had a long, hard summer. Some people aren't designed to live through heat. And so their blood's still too hot. And they go running around in Indian summer because their blood's still too hot. It's too warm. Savage summer, they call it. They go fucking running from house to house just like fucking cabin fever. They'd be fucking raping people and gutting them and castrating them and then fucking taking their fucking scalp, which is not an Indian thing to begin with. They learned it from us because we were doing it to them. We were the fucking assholes, and then they say, you think that's funny? And that's the way I understand it. And they're like, well, we can do it too. So, you know, fight fire with fire. You like that? Why don't you introduce me to your sister, Savage Summer, going nuts. Some people need the cold to keep them calm. That's where the lunatics they talk about. They'd be running on the moon. They were known to have been seen running in the fucking, through the snow in the dead of winter in the middle of the night. And they decided that it was because their blood was too hot. So in sanatoriums, they put them in fucking a bathtub and fill it with ice. It was to calm them, which, you know, it sounds like a silly story, but I myself have been running in the middle of December across my father's field through the snow. I put on my shoes. I keep my shoes on so that I'm not running barefoot, but I'd be out there for a half hour running naked under the moon. And then I read about that later. I'm like, maybe there is a thing to it. I am a lunatic. They say labeling is bad, but sometimes it's good to have one. You get a better idea who you are. Finally, I've been named. And so we could call it Savage Summer. This morning, there's just one line from what I read this morning in Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Sheriff July Johnson is all alone now, and he just had to kill his horse because it had a thorn and it was lamed. It couldn't fucking go anymore. And killing the horse and then sitting up on a ridge later watching the cloud of buzzards over where he left the horse. He's reminded that he's already got 3 other people killed on this trip. And his deputy, who was not anything but a townsman, who just sat in front of the jail, he wasn't the kind of deputy that was even interested in being a lawman. He just had a job. People were always saying to him, isn't that what you're paid to do? Why don't you get over there? And he's like, I'll check on it tomorrow, type of thing, you know. Just like with the Mayo murders. Some men just need a job. They don't care about what it takes to be a good cop. And so Roscoe, his deputy, he got shot. And then July Johnson's stepson that he took along, he didn't get shot. The stepson, and the girl that little girl that they picked up along the way, they all got killed by Blue Duck. He castrated Roscoe in his sleep there, and then cut him from nuts to sternum, belly to sternum, belly to breastbone, and he just butt stroked, crushed little Joe's head with the butt end of a rifle. And the girl, as she was climbing over, she'd already been gutted in her sleep, but she was still alive, trying to get to the pistol that Roscoe had dropped. And Blue Duck crushed her head with a big fucking rock. A BFR, that's what they call it in basic training. A big fucking rock. They'd throw it at you if you fall asleep. And in the educational part of basic, when you're in a room, they say anybody falls asleep, we're gonna hit you with this BFR. And there was a big fucking rock sitting on the desk. They never threw it. But yeah, he got the little girl with that, Janie. And so then July Johnson came back after he'd been with McCrae. They'd found Gus. And they were all dead. And so he's sitting there looking at his bird, at the birds, his horse, which I guess now if the buzzards, the birds are eating the horse, then they become his birds because his horse is with them now. He's thinking about all the lives he lost here. It's a horrifying book, much of it. But right there, right at the bottom of page 549 this year, I might as well start from the beginning of the paragraph, lead us into it. I've given you all the background story you need, I think. July wondered if perhaps the sleep of death would be as good, as comforting and warming as his boyhood slumber. He had a rifle and a pistol. One pull of the trigger would bring him all the sleep he wanted. In his 5 years as a lawman, he had never shot anyone, though he had a reputation as a dangerous fighter. It would be a joke on everyone if the only person he ever killed was himself. That's a pretty deep thought. It's a pretty deep thought. Some people are suicidal by nature. Maybe it's a good thing for those people. Not such a joke. Some of these people with suicide, it may be a good thing that the only person they ever turned out to kill was themselves. Maybe if they didn't kill themselves, they would kill others. A danger to self and others, well, flip a coin. Which one would you rather this person be a danger to? Themselves or others? Yeah, some people never think about being suicidal, but they come up to a time like this when things are just, the emotion, it can be a pretty powerful thing if you let it get into you. Sometimes it starts to feel comfortable to them. But I don't know if we can just say that July Johnson is that kind of person, because it mentions in the following, still in that paragraph on the next page, I had to go back a little bit to show you that. It talks about how his uncle had killed himself. He'd gone deep in debt, and he killed himself harshly by drinking lye. So it may be there's already a suicidal gene going on. I would prefer to just start robbing liquor stores and see how far I can get across the country before somebody runs me over a cliff like Thelma and Louise. Too much fun to be had.